Rex Airlines has entered voluntary administration, leaving thousands of workers in limbo. The Transport Workers Union says it's been told up to 850 jobs will go. The airline's entire fleet of Boeing 737 jets has been grounded, forcing the cancellation of flights between major cities. Regional routes on the company's smaller planes will continue for now. It's a major blow for many regional and rural communities, with a cloud now over the future of the airline. Administrators say they're aiming to restructure the company so it can continue to service regional communities.
So the administrators have been able to secure funding to enable us to see those regional operations continue through the period of the administration, whilst we undertake a restructure and seek interest in the company to take it forward and see that legacy core business servicing the regional and remote communities continue.
Now, political reporter Nicole Hegarty joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Nicole, there are calls for the federal government to step in. In what way? What are the options being proposed here?
Hi, Gemma. Well, the Nationals and unions are on a rare unity ticket of sorts, both calling for the federal government to step in and provide financial assistance to the airline. The union, the Transport Workers Union, going a step further beyond the calls of some other unions and the Nationals in saying that the government should actually seriously consider taking an equity stake in Rex. Now, that would mean government ownership of an airline again. Of course, going back to Ansett, that was the case, but it hasn't been for some time. And yet again, we are seeing a situation where a regional carrier, albeit one that has ventured into flying on routes between capital cities, is struggling. It's of note here that at a state government level in Queensland and WA, the Rex, the carrier, is subsidised to fly on some of those more regional routes as well. So they already do receive some assistance from various levels of government. They also received a package of support during COVID from the financial government, from the federal government then as well, Gemma.
And Nicole, what's the federal government had to say?
The federal government has been saying, look, this has only just happened, but initially they are saying they've been quite critical of Rex's venture into providing more services to capital cities, saying that the primary focus is to ensure that these regional flights do continue, and in many cases the only flights between regions. They say they're yet to receive a specific request for financial support, but the Transport Minister, Catherine King, says they would be hesitant to just provide money with no strings attached, saying they would rather see a longer-term approach. The Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, has also said how critical these flights are, particularly for some of those regions where they are the only airlines operating, and has said that as part of this process, they are working with other airlines on potential for workers, if they are put off by Rex, to be re-employed by some of the other carriers.
Servicing these regional routes is really important for regional communities and for regional economies. We know that. The Prime Minister, Minister King, the Premier of New South Wales have all made a similar point, which is that we want to see those regional services continue. Minister King, Catherine King, is also talking with the other airlines to make sure that if there are job losses, that the other airlines can re-employ and redeploy some of these workers as well.
Now, on the job front, there has been a meeting underway with administrators, and the latest figures in terms of jobs affected by this are that there will be up to 360 job losses due to the grounding of the 737 planes, so the ones that are used for those capital city flights, and also a potential 250 across other areas of the business, so some 610 all up, with warnings that could grow, as you say, up to around 850 as a result of this, Gemma.
Political reporter Nicole Hegarty, thank you. Rex customers on routes between major cities are being rebooked onto Virgin flights, with the private equity-backed carrier swooping in to take over leases on 3 Rex 737s. Our reporter Jess Rendall is at Sydney Airport and she joins us now. Jess, what has Virgin said?
Well, Gemma, it seems Virgin have thrown a bit of a lifeline to Rex amid their time of need that they're experiencing here at the moment, and not only for customers but for employees too. So let's start with the customers and what Virgin are offering there. For all customers that have flights booked on Rex Airlines, they will be able to transfer those flights to any other Virgin Airlines flights, and that's something that's valid for the next 6 months. So quite an opportunity there for customers. We do know that all they need to do is call 136789 to restart that booking process there. Now, we know that in terms of employees, Virgin Australia are hoping to expand their fleet, and they'll actually be taking on 3 of Rex's 737 planes. And while they take those planes on, they'll need people to work on those planes, and who better to do that than the Rex employees who already know how to operate these flights. So they will be opening up jobs and job opportunities for Rex employees that will be losing their jobs throughout this voluntary administration process, and they will have an opportunity to apply for jobs at Virgin. Virgin's CEO spoke to ABC's News Breakfast a little earlier this morning about this offer. Take a listen.
With the delays in 737-800s coming from Boeing, we've got the need to take on 3 new aircraft, and we're hoping to be able to do that from the aircraft that are no longer going to be operated by Rex. So that'll enable us to bring on more employees from Rex into our business. But that's about the extent of the envelope. That plus in supporting the regional business to ensure that we are Rex's partner in serving regional communities across Australia.
Jess, you're at the airport right now. How are people feeling about the situation there?
Well, Gemma, if you look behind me now, you can see that it's actually rather quiet. All of these lanes have been empty all morning. There's a few customers up the front there talking to Rex staff. Rex have actually put on additional staff this morning to try and help calm customers down who might have some trouble with changing their flights and things like that. But we haven't spoken to too many people who felt stressed out about this situation at all. We spoke to one woman before who was travelling internationally and had a connecting flight domestically here with Rex. And she said that they handled the situation very well and she wasn't that stressed, but she did say that she flies Rex quite frequently and that it is a shame to see them go. Take a listen.
To be honest, it's like pretty good price and it's quite similar, and it's always been pretty on time in my experience. So yeah, it's a shame.
Now, we are expecting to hear from the administrators a little later this morning, and we'll bring you that press conference live when we get it.
Jess Rendall in Sydney, thank you. Israel says it has killed a senior Hezbollah commander in the Lebanese capital, Beirut. The commander was targeted by the IDF after a rocket attack in the Golan Heights killed 12 children. Middle East correspondent Eric Tlozek reports.
The Israeli military says it's killed a senior Hezbollah commander. The Air Force destroyed a building in the southern Beirut suburb of Dakhia. That's the heartland of Hezbollah, where the group's offices are located and where most of its supporters live. It's a densely populated residential area, and the Lebanese Ministry of Health says at least 1 woman was killed and dozens of people were injured in the strike. There was some doubt about whether the person Israel was targeting was actually killed. His name is Fuad Shukr. He's a core member of Hezbollah, a senior leader in the militant group responsible for Hezbollah's missile program. He was also wanted by the United States for his involvement in the 1983 bombing of the US Marine Corps barracks in Beirut that killed 241 people. Israel says Fuad Shukr oversaw the rocket strike in Majd al-Shams in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, which killed 12 children on the weekend. It had been planning some kind of response to that strike for days. It said it wanted a powerful demonstration of force, but not one which would intensify its conflict with Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been firing rockets, anti-tank missiles and drones at Israeli towns and military sites since after the October the 7th terrorist attacks in support of Palestinians in Gaza. It says it won't stop until Israel withdraws from Gaza. Now the question is how Hezbollah will respond to this strike. Fuad Shukr was a senior member of the group, and this is a strike at Hezbollah's stronghold in the southern suburbs of Lebanon. There is no doubt that it will view it seriously. There was no doubt that it will consider it a provocation. The question is whether Hezbollah can afford to escalate further. Its primary backer, Iran, has condemned the strikes, but Hezbollah is already heavily involved in fighting against Israel and has suffered heavy losses so far. So it will no doubt be considering the best way to respond to this and whether it can afford to escalate further.